Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating biological detective story. And the best part? The entire mystery takes place literally right inside your own body. We're going to explore the hidden mechanics of our cells, specifically how we generate energy, and how that exact process holds the ultimate secret to fighting off aging and drastically lowering the risk of cancer. It's this wild story full of ancient cellular mergers, survival tactics, and everyday habits that, honestly, most of us get completely wrong. So let's jump right in.
Now, you might be wondering, where do we even start? Well, what if I told you that to truly understand how to protect your body from disease, you just need to figure out what three kinda random things have in common: a 100-meter sprint, a blue ocean fish, and a rumbling stomach. I know it sounds super bizarre, but trust me, by the end of this explainer, these three clues are going to unlock your body's absolute most powerful defense system.
All right, to solve this mystery, we got to go back, like way back. Billions of years ago, the very first life on Earth was just simple single-celled organisms without a nucleus, basically just simple bacteria, known as prokaryotes. But then one of the most epic mergers and acquisitions in the history of the universe happened. A specific type of bacteria that could actually use oxygen to burn fat for energy, the mitochondria, merged with another simple cell. Together, they formed a massive, super efficient complex cell called a eukaryote. And this is literally the foundation of who we are today. Every plant, every animal, you, me, we are all the direct result of this ancient merger. Those mitochondria became our tiny, hard-working cellular partners living right inside our cells and giving us the incredible energy we need to survive.
To get a feel for how this energy works, let's look at the ocean for a second. Think about a blue fish, like a mackerel or a tuna. Have you ever wondered why their backs are blue? It's to blend in with the ocean's surface from above so birds don't eat them, and their bellies are shiny to blend in with the sunlight from below, hiding them from bigger fish. Because they live right at the surface, they're swimming constantly, all day, every day. If you cut them open, their meat is dark red. Why? Because it's packed with blood, and blood carries oxygen. They're basically doing continuous aerobic exercise. Now flip that, and look at a white fish, like a flounder. They hide out at the bottom of the ocean floor, perfectly still. They only move in these sudden, explosive bursts to catch food or run away. Their meat is white because they don't rely on that constant flow of oxygenated blood. They rely on anaerobic movement, meaning energy without oxygen.
Here's where it gets really crazy. This ancient biology, it's built right into our own anatomy. We are descendants of these creatures, which means we've got both types of muscle inside of us right now. Our red muscle makes up our inner core. These are the muscles holding your spine upright or controlling your breathing. I mean, if your breathing muscles just got tired and took a break, you wouldn't survive. These muscles are working 24/7 without resting because they use oxygen and fat to create an endless, steady supply of aerobic energy. On the flip side, our white muscle makes up our outer muscles, like your biceps. You use these for sudden heavy lifting or, say, a 100-meter sprint. But they don't use oxygen. They use stored sugar to create explosive anaerobic energy. That's exactly why you can easily walk around a theme park for 6 hours using your red muscle. But if you sprint as absolutely fast as you can, you're collapsing after just 50 meters. Your white muscle literally just runs out of fuel.
The chemistry happening inside you here is just fascinating. When your red muscles are running aerobically, thanks to those amazing little mitochondria, they're taking oxygen and mixing it with fat. It's wildly efficient, and the energy lasts all day. But look at the anaerobic side. When you sprint, those white muscles aren't using oxygen. They grab glucose, which is sugar, and basically just snap it in half to create energy. The leftover byproduct is lactic acid. And we all know that feeling, right? When lactic acid builds up, your muscles literally scream in pain and you just hit a wall. It's a super inefficient short-burst energy system.
So hold on, that brings up a pretty massive question. If our red muscles are working all day, every day, to keep us breathing and standing, and we aren't constantly eating, where on earth are they getting this endless supply of energy?
Well, the answer is your body's own buried treasure, stored fat. When you haven't eaten and your blood sugar drops, your mitochondria don't panic. They just happily switch over to burning your stored fat using oxygen. And this unlocks one of the most incredible mechanisms in the human body. You know when your stomach starts rumbling and you think, oh man, I need a snack immediately? Actually, scratch that, it's not a bad thing at all. The source material calls these the miracles of hunger. Check this out. When your stomach rumbles that very first time, your body releases a growth hormone that actually rejuvenates your skin and mucous membranes. If you wait it out and let it rumble a second time, it activates the sirtuin gene, which is this famous anti-aging gene, and that starts repairing your cells and your DNA. And if you hold out for a third rumble, your fat cells release adiponectin, That's a longevity hormone that literally goes in and cleans out your blood vessels. So the huge takeaway here is this: feeling hungry isn't starvation. It's actually your body entering an active state of intense cellular anti-aging. How cool is that?
You can actually see this fat-burning furnace working in the real world. Just look at kids playing outside in the winter. They've got thin jackets on, running around. Sometimes you literally see steam rising off their heads. They are perfectly warm because their mitochondria are beautifully burning fat with oxygen to generate massive amounts of heat. It's a process called non-shivering thermogenesis. Now compare that to out-of-shape adults in the winter. They're bundled up in 5 heavy layers, complaining about the wind and visibly shivering. Believe it or not, shivering is actually a muscle spasm. It's the body frantically firing those white anaerobic muscles, burning through precious sugar reserves and creating lactic acid just to generate a tiny, pathetic amount of heat. It is incredibly inefficient, and they just stay cold.
Okay, so if these mitochondria are doing all this amazing stuff, giving us endless energy, burning fat, keeping us young, it leads us to the major plot twist of this explainer. Why on earth do cancer cells absolutely hate mitochondria and oxygen?
We actually have concrete proof of this every single day in modern medicine. When doctors need to find cancer in the body, they do a PET scan. Before the scan, they give the patient an IV filled with a modified liquid sugar. Fast forward an hour, they check the scan. Normal cells, which are happily burning fat and protein using oxygen, totally ignore the sugar. But the cancer cells, they glow bright red on the monitor. Why? Because cancer cells can't use oxygen. They've completely banished their mitochondria. Instead, they survive entirely by gobbling up pure sugar and splitting it into lactic acid. It's the exact same inefficient anaerobic process used by a whitefish or your bicep during a sprint.
But why banish the mitochondria? Well, it boils down to this really brilliant insight from the source material. Mitochondria act as cellular quality control. If a cell starts dividing recklessly, they will shut it down or destroy it. You see, mitochondria are kind of like the immune system inside the cell itself. They are our tiny, incredibly strict protective bouncers.
Think about it from the mitochondria's perspective. Remember, billions of years ago, they used to be their own independent life forms. They have a very real survival instinct. They want to live and pass on their lineage. Because of this, they absolutely hate living in cells that constantly die and replace themselves. Like, if you scrub your skin way too hard with a rough towel or burn your throat with scalding hot soup, those cells die and slough off. If a mitochondria lived there, it'd get flushed right down the drain. So they naturally prefer to set up shop in stable environments, like your brain, your heart, and reproductive eggs. But here's the most important part. If a cell suddenly goes rogue and starts dividing rapidly and recklessly, which is literally the definition of cancer, the mitochondria steps in. It'll actively suppress that cell's division. And if the cell won't listen, the mitochondria will hit the self-destruct button, killing the rogue cell entirely just to protect you, the host. Cancer cells know this, so to survive, cancer has no choice but to kick the mitochondria out and run entirely on sugar.
Honestly, knowing this completely flips the script on how we view disease prevention, and it leads to this incredibly powerful statistic right here, 33%. Cancer patients who actively do daily aerobic exercise, which literally forces the body to build more red muscle and generate millions of new healthy mitochondria, see a 33% improvement in their 15-year survival rate. The math is simple, but it's profound. More oxygen, more mitochondria, less cancer.
So what's the game plan here? How do we become a terrible host for cancer and a fantastic host for our mitochondria? It really comes down to 3 highly actionable, totally science-backed lifestyle changes that you can start doing today. Number 1, aerobic exercise. Stop thinking you gotta sprint until you puke. Just walk daily. Walk for hours if you can. Build up that red muscle and multiply those protective mitochondria. Number 2, carb restriction. Look, if cancer cells strictly rely on sugar to survive, stop giving them an endless all-you-can-eat buffet. Cut down on those constant sugar spikes and force your body to tap into its stored fat. Let those anti-aging rumbles happen in your stomach. And number 3, dress lightly. Stop overlayering every time it gets a little chilly. Let yourself feel the cold a bit. Force your body to activate that non-shivering thermogenesis, burning fat to naturally keep you warm, just like those kids playing outside.
I want to leave you with this to chew on today. Are you feeding your potential cancer cells with endless sugar and perfect cozy temperatures? Or are you feeding your protective mitochondria with a little bit of healthy stress, a brisk walk, a slight chill in the air, and the occasional rumble of an empty stomach? Our bodies are these unbelievably well-designed machines forged over billions of years of cellular evolution.
By simply understanding what our tiny mitochondrial partners actually need, we hold the key to endless energy, healthy aging, and an absolute shield against disease. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this explainer. Go take your mitochondria for a walk, and I'll see you next time.